$400 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. A home you can buy outright for under $120,000. A hospital 15 minutes away instead of an hour and a half. These aren't hypotheticals, they're real numbers in real Texas towns right now in 2026. And number one on this list gives you something that normally costs 6 figures extra just to live near. Your own private national park. Stick around because that one is going to make you rethink everything you assumed retirement had to cost. Subscribe if you're new. We go looking for the towns nobody else covers. Number 10, Castroville. Picture this, you're 25 minutes from downtown San Antonio, but the street signs are in French, the houses have steep half-timbered roofs, and the whole town looks like it was airlifted in from the Alsace region of Europe. That's not a theme park. That's Castroville, founded in 1844 by settlers Henri Castro brought over directly from France, and their descendants never let the town forget where it came from. Median home prices here run $250,000 to $300,000, high for this list, but modest compared to San Antonio itself, and smaller rentals start around $700 to $900 a month. The real value isn't just the price tag, it's the location. Full access to San Antonio's massive medical system, including University Hospital and the Methodist Healthcare Network, sits just 25 minutes away. You get small town quiet without sacrificing serious healthcare infrastructure, which is a combination most rural towns simply can't offer. The architectural detail here is what makes Castroville worth a second look. It has one of the highest concentrations of 19th century Alsatian buildings anywhere outside France itself, several protected on the National Register of Historic Places. The old landmark inn still sits on the Medina River, exactly where it stood since the 1850s. For a retiree who wants European character without a transatlantic flight, this is about as close as America gets. Number 9. Rockport. Ask most Americans where affordable coastal retirement exists and they'll say Florida. They're wrong, and Rockport is the proof. This Gulf Coast town of about 11,000, 30 miles from Corpus Christi, runs a cost of living roughly 7% below the national average, while sitting directly on the water. Home prices climbed after Hurricane Harvey rebuilding, now averaging $330,000 to $380,000. But many longtime residents own outright, and rentals remain reasonable for a coastal town. Rockport Beach is the only certified Blue Wave beach in Texas, meeting strict international water safety standards. There's no hospital in town itself. That's the honest trade-off. But Corpus Christi's 8 hospitals sit about 30 minutes away. Every winter, the last wild flock of whooping cranes on the planet, a species that dropped to fewer than 20 birds in the 1940s, flies down to the Aransas National Wildlife Refuge just north of town. The most recent count recorded over 550 of these 5-foot-tall birds wintering there. Retirees in Rockport get to watch one of the greatest wildlife recoveries in American conservation history unfold in their own backyard every single year for free. Number 8. Bandera. You know a town is serious about its identity when the whole place shuts down for a rodeo on a random Saturday. Bandera calls itself the cowboy capital of the world, and 45 minutes northwest of San Antonio, it backs that claim up completely. Working dude ranches, weekly rodeos, and a downtown where boots aren't a costume, they're a Tuesday. Living costs run about 17% below the national average. Larger ranch-style properties land between $280,000 and $345,000, but smaller in-town homes and rentals bring that number down considerably. The Medina River runs straight through town for fishing and tubing, and Bernie, 24 minutes away, fills in the healthcare gaps with expanded senior services. The Silver Sage Senior Center operates right in Bandera itself, and the OST restaurant has been serving the same crowd since 1921. Bandera's rodeo grounds have produced world champion cowboys and run continuously for generations. This isn't a manufactured Western theme, it's a working piece of American ranching heritage that never stopped functioning the way it always has. Number 7. Sonora. Would you move to a town if the biggest attraction was underground and still actively growing? Sonora, out where the hill country fades into true West Texas, forces that question, because beneath its 1891 Courthouse Square sits one of the most stunning cave systems on Earth. The caverns of Sonora carry National Natural Landmark status, and remarkably, more than 95% of the crystal formations inside are still forming today, shaped by water that's been at work for millions of years. The founder of the National Speleological Society once said its beauty cannot be exaggerated, not even by a Texan. Peacocks wander the grounds above it. Financially, Sonora is one of the most accessible towns on this list. Average home prices sit around $175,000 to $180,000. The town runs its own hospital, Lillian M. Hudspeth Memorial, which recently added a $5.2 million wellness center with an indoor fitness pool, an amenity most towns this size never get. There's a 9-hole golf course, a nature preserve, and a crime rate low enough that locals routinely leave cars unlocked. The trade-off is remoteness. Bigger city amenities mean a real drive, but for the cost and for living directly above a geological wonder most people never see in their lifetime, that trade feels almost too easy. Number 6. Mineola. Mineola doesn't try to impress you with size. With under 5,000 residents 80 miles east of Dallas, it wins with something else entirely. A nearly 2,900-acre nature preserve along the Sabine River, completely free to enter, with over 20 miles of equestrian trails, more than 190 documented bird species, and actual wild alligators sharing the wetlands. Texas Parks and Wildlife has ranked it among the best city parks of its size in the entire country. Cost of living runs about 10% below the national average. Total monthly expenses for a single retiree land near $2,200, with housing alone averaging around $790. Median home prices sit near $250,000 to $300,000, well under the statewide median. Healthcare leans on Christus Mother Frances Hospital in nearby Tyler, repeatedly ranked among the nation's best for outpatient joint replacement. Nearly 28% of Mineola's population is already 65 or older. Move here and you're not the exception to the neighborhood, you're the majority. Number 5. Jefferson. Founded in the 1840s along Big Cypress Bayou, Jefferson was once the second busiest port in Texas until the river silted up, the railroads bypassed it, and the town's economy simply stopped. That collapse turned out to be an accidental gift. Jefferson never had the money to tear down its history and build something newer, so it's still standing, wrought iron balconies and all. A single retiree needs roughly $2,367 a month to live comfortably here, over 50% below the national average. Home prices average $116,000 to $147,000, less than half the statewide median, and groceries run about 9% cheaper than average. Healthcare routes through Marshall nearby, with Longview and Shreveport within reach for anything more specialized. This town brands itself the most haunted town in Texas, with nightly ghost tours and reported apparitions in 2 different historic hotels. It's also the self-declared Bigfoot capital of Texas, with sightings reported in the surrounding piney woods for over a century, and 5 hidden Bigfoot statues scattered through town for visitors to hunt. Number 4. Cuero. 90 miles southeast of San Antonio sits a town of about 6,500 people, where a full plate lunch still costs under $7. One-bedroom rentals in Cuero run $500 to $650 a month. Some historic homes with real yards rent under $800, and move-in ready houses can still be found listed under $130,000. Cuero Regional Hospital handles local care, with specialists arriving regularly from Victoria, 35 minutes away, and San Antonio available for anything more serious. The Guadalupe River runs nearby, and the hunting and fishing here are genuinely excellent. Every October, this town hosts the Turkey Fest, centered on an actual competitive foot race between turkeys, run down Main Street in front of statewide crowds. It started in the 1970s as a rivalry with another Texas town claiming the same title, and it has never once stopped. Number 3. Comanche. Roughly halfway between Abilene and Fort Worth, Comanche feels genuinely alive rather than slowly emptying out. Rents run $550 to $750 a month, comfortably inside Social Security range, with a regional medical center locally and larger hospitals in Brownwood, 30 minutes south. In the middle of the town square stands the old courthouse oak, sometimes called the hanging tree, estimated to be over 1,000 years old. That means this tree was already 500 years old when Columbus's ships reached the Americas. It's still alive. It still leafs out every spring, shading the same sidewalk it shaded when this was open Comanche territory. Number 2. Terlingua. Terlingua, pressed against the western edge of Big Bend National Park, was a real mining town of roughly 2,000 people in the early 1900s, built entirely around mercury extraction. From 1919 to 1941, the Chisos Mining Company pulled cinnabar ore from these hills until the Depression collapsed the market and the mines shut for good by 1946. The town emptied almost overnight. Decades later, artists and desert wanderers started moving back in, not to rebuild the ruins, but to live alongside them. Today, Terlingua Iowa proper holds only a few dozen full-time residents, maybe 150 to 200 across the wider area, and there are literally no fences separating the crumbling century-old adobe walls from the homes people occupy today. Median home values sit around $111,000, among the lowest on this entire list, though services are genuinely minimal. One small store, a post office, and the nearest full hospital over an hour away in Alpine. Local residents have, more than once, reported hearing Elvis singing from the town cemetery at dusk. Number 1. Marathon. Population roughly 430. On paper, Marathon looks like nothing. A gas station, a general store, a handful of restaurants, and the historic 1920s Gage Hotel holding the whole town together. But 40 miles south sits Big Bend National Park. Over 800,000 acres spanning 3 completely different ecosystems: the Chihuahuan Desert, the Chisos Mountains, and the Rio Grande River Corridor. It's a certified international dark sky park, one of the last places in the lower 48 where the Milky Way is still visible to the naked eye on an ordinary night. Compare that to what proximity to natural beauty usually costs. Scottsdale, near the Sonoran Desert. Asheville, near the Blue Ridge Mountains. Jackson Hole, near Yellowstone. In every one of those places, being close to something beautiful has driven the cost of living into the stratosphere. In Marathon, that hasn't happened yet. Rent runs $600 to $900 a month, full stop. The honest downside is healthcare. The nearest hospital sits 27 miles away in Alpine, and the nearest major medical center is a 2.5-hour drive in Odessa. But long-term residents here consistently describe the same thing: stepping outside on an ordinary Tuesday night and seeing more stars than most Americans will see in their entire lives, for less money a month than most people spend on a single car payment. Every town on this list is real. Every figure here is grounded in actual research, and somewhere right now, people are living well in all 10 of them on nothing but a fixed income. Tell us in the comments which one surprised you the most, and if someone you know is stressed about affording retirement, send this their way.